Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are watching around the world. Welcome to the Swami Army preview of the preview and review of the New Zealand series, the ODI series and Test series coming up against India, between India and New Zealand. In New Zealand, my name is Kartik, and once again we have our usual guests, Angad from the Swami Army. Angad, welcome to you.
Thanks, Kartik.
And also we have joining us today a freelance journalist who worked with the ABC and also many other organisations around the world. Does a bit of journalism and a bit of writing and blogging himself. Gaurav Joshi. Gaurav, welcome to you.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me on.
Not a problem, guys. We'll get started straight away. A disappointing series once again for Team India, going down winless, which is not many people would have expected that. Certainly not myself. After I predicted a 5-0 whitewash, we almost got there with the result was on the other foot. India went down 4-0, as you all may have seen, which is definitely not good for Team India, but I guess we learned a few things and we got some game time in the young squad again. But Angad, I guess the first question off the top would be, how long can we keep using this same excuse of getting experience in the young guys, and how many losses will it take before the selectors have said, okay, enough's enough, the changes need to be made?
Well, I think that as cricket fans around the world, we've got very short-term memories. Yes, they lost. They went winless in South Africa and in New Zealand in the limited overs games, but 2013 was a brilliant season. I mean, they won away from home. They won the Champions Trophy without losing a game. They won in Zimbabwe and in the West Indies. So I think it's a bit early to be making these calls about things need to be changed. Yes, players are out of form, but better now than in 12 months' time during the World Cup. At least now they can look at where they went wrong in the South Africa and the New Zealand series and work on that ahead of the World Cup in a year's time. So look, let's be realistic here. India go into a lot of the overseas series with not much form. Not much match practice. Coming into the series, they barely play tour games these days. So, slow starts are kind of expected, and as we've seen, even in the South Africa series, the one days are sort of used as practice for the test matches. But I think they've invested too much in this squad to start making changes now. I think these guys just have to go back and look at where they went wrong and work on that ahead of the World Cup next year.
Absolutely. And Gaurav, we've seen, as we saw, 4-0 drubbing of the series. The batsmen just really, apart from Virat Kohli and MS Dhoni, really didn't get going. So, did you see any positives at all for Team India coming out of that one-day series?
Well, it's quite hard to find any positives when India lose 4-0. I think India's just been so predictable, and I think that's the problem. I mean, it seems to be that India have a set formula for the one days, and that's to win the toss, put the opposition in, and then rely on the two guys who chase the best in world cricket, and it's Dhoni and Kohli. And of course, if they're not there at the end, the plan comes apart. So. Really no real positives to come out of it, to be honest. I mean, apart from these young players getting exposures, I mean, is Kohli the right man at 3? Should he be at 4 and maybe Pujara at 3? There's still plenty of questions, but even in terms of spin bowling, Jadeja's a little bit of positive there, and Ashwin's batting, but apart from that, there's not that much that India could really take on board after that disappointing performance.
Yeah, and also not just the batting didn't really fire. I guess the one main problem was that probably an existing problem, probably an ongoing problem for Indian cricket, was that the bowling just wasn't up to the mark. I mean, yes, nowadays it's a lot harder with only the 4 kidsmen allowed outside the 15-yard circle. But nevertheless, that it could give the bowlers an opportunity to change their length, vary their length, change it up a bit. But none of the bowlers just seem like even coming close to getting wickets at all. I mean, what is there? What do you reckon that can be done about that?
Yeah, look, I've said this before. I think with our young bowlers, they get a bit excited when they see assistance on offer, and they're bowling far too short to the New Zealand batsmen, and they really got taken apart because of that. I think what can be done about that is I kind of wanted Zaheer Khan there in the one-day squad, maybe not in the starting 11, but around the younger bowlers to kind of be a bit of have a mentor role in the one-day squad. And now that he's there for the Test match squad, I'm sure he's going to share a lot of his experience with the younger guys. But I honestly don't know what to say about the bowlers. I mean, you would think they would learn after time and time again bowling too short, too wide, and getting taken apart wherever they are in the world, even playing at home. So I think they've got some lessons to learn very quickly. They don't have much time to learn them in if they're going to have any chance of defending their World Cup title.
Absolutely, and I think, as you said, the only way is really just to stick with the guys that we have, and hopefully that they can turn around this form slump they have. And in order to do that, their next chance comes up with the Test series. We finished the one days. Now we move on to the 2-match Test series. Probably a lot of people will be saying why 2 matches. Even against South Africa, there's only a 2-match Test series, but that's probably a discussion for another day. What do we expect, Gaurav, from Team India in this Test series? Is it going to be a turnaround from the one days? Will we like South Africans? We'll see like the South African series where they use the one days as the warm-up matches and getting used to the conditions and then perform well in the Test matches. Or do we expect the same, or do we expect New Zealanders to continue the team rolling of India?
No, I'm expecting our batsmen to deliver here. And then one major reason where the Indian batsmen are caught out is probably while we're trying to execute a few shots. If we look at South Africa, the reason why the batsmen succeeded is because we left the ball really well. They let South Africa's bowlers bowl to them. Unfortunately, you can't do that in one-day matches, and I think those short balls in Test cricket, likes of whoever it is, Pujara or Rahane or even Shekhar Dhawan, they can get underneath that short ball and they don't have to play that. The short selection becomes so critical, and that's something that India was very impressive in South Africa. So I think because of that, I'm expecting the Indian batsmen to deliver the goods. Depending on the pitches, our bowlers, well, they're always 50-50. It's a bit of a lottery. I mean, but no, definitely, I think if they have the right mindset, which I'm hoping they would, if they can show what they did in South Africa against Spain and so forth, I'm sure they'll come up with the goods here against New Zealand.
No doubt. And Angad, to you, Gaurav mentioned that the Indian bowling is always a lottery. We see around the globe that many teams have consistent bowling attacks. You see like with Australia recently against England, there's the 30-man pace attack. South Africa, obviously, the #1 attack in the world. Even New Zealand have now got a very good pace attack, and obviously always Pakistan always has had a solid pace attack as well. What does India need to do to get people to stop thinking of the bowling as a lottery, but rather being able to rely on these bowlers week in, week out, season in, season out, to perform and bowl India to victory? Let's be honest, to win a Test match, the bowlers are the ones that set up these for as many runs as you can. But if you don't take 20 wickets, you're not going to win a Test match. So, what is the solution?
Look, I think a lot. I think I've got a very long answer for this. I don't think we've got enough time, but essentially I feel that it's got a lot to do It's got a. I mean, it's always been a very batsman-heavy culture. Young guys coming through the grassroots level, they just want to be batsmen. I mean, we hear every season of a new kid at the under 15 level making 500 runs, but we never hear about, a young fast bowler taking 6 or 7 wickets in an innings. So it's obviously in the long haul, it's going to have to change at the grassroots level to get these faster bowlers in. But I honestly don't know what we can say about getting a stable bowling attack. I guess we have to pick the guys that, MS Dhoni and the selection team have to pick the guys they feel can take 20 wickets and persist with, and obviously bank on form as well. You can't just bank. Um, some of these younger guys, yes, they've had a poor ODI series, but they've had a great Test series in India and away in the past year or so. So I think consistency is the key to the players feeling sure of themselves in the attack, and then that's the only way they can hone their skills, and especially since these guys don't get much time to play county or Ranji cricket because they're always playing the Indian setup. So I know it's a very, very hard issue to address with a short-term fix, I guess.
Kartik, just on that, I mean, just one major point where I think the Indian bowlers struggle, especially with the Kookaburra ball, is after it loses at China. I mean, you saw in South Africa in the first test when the ball was doing a little bit, we bowled South Africa out cheaply. It seems to be, it's a mind frame of defensive bowling that the Indian bowlers can't adopt. And defensive bowling, I don't mean, sticking 7 men out on the boundary. It's all about bowling at one spot. It's pretty much how someone like Peter Siddle bowls. Doesn't do much with the ball. It's just that line and length. And the Indian bowlers just can't bowl that defensive style of bowling. Just let the ball go outside the off stump. They seem to overpitch one once every 6 balls, 12 balls, or bowl one which is a short hop outside the off stump. So they need to work on that. And if they can get that defensive part of their bowling right, they do produce enough good deliveries to knock batsmen over.
Absolutely, and I guess it's certainly going to be interesting to see how things pan out against New Zealand. They're, as we've seen, they're a very strong team at home. So our bowlers will definitely have the task ahead of them, and hopefully they can turn it around from the one-day series into the Test team, as it'll be very similar bowling attack. The inclusion of Zahir Khan, I guess, will certainly help our bowling attack. Now, during the Test series, during any series, as we always do, what we like to do is ask our panelists who their standout player would be. So, Angad, I'm going to ask you of the squad of the Indian team, that's the Indian Test team. Which player do you think will have a standout series and will be the number one performer for the Indian Test team?
For the Indians, look, I'm looking at Pujara. He was hard done by not being selected in the one. I don't think he's got much left to prove, but he seems to have the technique to adapt to overseas conditions. And I think going forward in either format, one days and Test matches, we'll need him there to stabilise the ship a little bit, because we know our openers are quite up and down, and they could make either a 200-run opening stand or both get out with a score below 20. So I think Pujara is my pick. And I'm looking at the ball. Sorry, I'm looking at I'm assuming that Shami will get a nod ahead of some of the other guys. It seems I'm looking at Shami to rectify some of the mistakes he made in the one-day series.
Okay, and quickly, anybody from New Zealand? Somebody from New Zealand, your standout player, Angad, for the series?
Well, Ross Taylor's just been in an unbelievable form, whether against India in the one-days or the West Indies in Ross Taylor's just an unbelievable season, so we need to look out for him to make some runs.
Definitely, he's definitely going to be a big threat. Gaurav, who do you think is going to be the standout performer for India and New Zealand in this upcoming Test series?
Well, I mean, it depends what kind of lineup New Zealand put out, but I think Jadeja's done enough with the ball. I think he needs to be played ahead of Ashwin. I just think he's a better bowler, and so I think Jadeja, if he can get some handy runs down at number 8 as well, who knows? This could be start of a Test career for him abroad. He had a terrific Test match with the ball in Durban, picking up a sixer, and so I think he's someone that India can look forward to. For New Zealand, look for Trent Boult. I think he's a terrific bowler. I know he's coming back from an injury, but the guy's got all the skills in the world. His left arm, he's around 140 odd clicks. He can swing the ball both ways. So, and if there are seaming wickets, I think he could trouble the Indian batsmen. So they're two people who, it's sort of not your typical ones, but I think they could have a sort of a significant impact on the way on the outcome of this series.
No doubt. It's definitely going to be one challenging series for Team India, but nevertheless something that they will definitely be able to stand up to. As we see in the rankings, India quite far ahead of New Zealand, but as we saw in the one-day series, those rankings don't mean much on current form. So hopefully we can live up to our number 2 ranking in the tests and do really well against New Zealand. Okay, a quick tip from you guys. Angadh, we'll start with you. Give us a series winner or a scoreline, or do you even think possibly it could be a draw as well?
Look, I'm going to go out there and say it'll be 0-0. I mean, the weather doesn't look too good for Auckland, and we'll probably get a rain-affected draw in that. And I would want India to win the second test in Wellington, both tests, but I'm going to say 0-0.
Not a problem. Gaurav, your thoughts? You generally our weather specialist, so we're hoping you can give us a bit more of a sustainable answer than what Angadh has given us. But your scoreline for you and series tip.
Well, I'm going to stick with 0-0 as well. I don't think the Indian bowlers, unless there's absolute green seamers that are dished out to them, I don't think they can produce 20 wickets. At the Test matches, just watching the Test pitches for the New Zealand West Indies series, they're quite flat. And I think Indian batsmen will score runs. The weather will play a part. And I think the slow nature of wickets, and I think both teams will just grind it out. I'll be very surprised. If there is one team that will produce a result, it's probably New Zealand, but I'm still going for a 0-0.
Well, gents, I'd love to agree with you, but I'm not going to. I think if you ask me, well, even if you didn't ask me, I think it's the rain. Definitely Auckland will be rain affected, but I think with the overcast conditions above, our bowlers will be able to get some swing around in the air and certainly take 20 wickets. So for mine, I'm giving a 2-0 victory to India, just stamping their authority as the number 2 test team in the world, especially coming off a really tough series and really good series in South Africa. So definitely, I think they'll be able to turn around their one-day form and produce in the Test series. But thanks again. That's all we have time for today, guys. Thanks very much for joining, as always, Angadh and Gaurav. To everybody out there watching, a quick reminder that the Swami Army, myself and Angadh will be there in Auckland live during the Test match starting on Thursday. We'll be there and we'll be giving you guys a daily wrap-up of each day's play at the end of each day's play, so make sure you tune in for that. Also, check out the website, as you can see on the bottom there, swamiarmy.com, for all your New Zealand tour details and also the upcoming England tour and the World Cup, and of course the Australian tour as well at the end of the year. So a lot of information on the website. Make sure you get on there, register for the newsletter, and keep your eyes and ears open for more details of upcoming tours. As I said, thanks very much to Angadh and Gaurav for joining on tonight's Hangout. We'll see you all again soon. Go Team India, and hopefully we'll do well in the Test series. We'll be back, as I said, during the Test series for the daily wrap-up, but then at the end of it to wrap it all up again.